Let me tell you what Telecentre Europe is. We are a network of networks. I work in UK Online Centres. I work for Helen. She delegated me a great role yesterday. And across Europe, about 18 months ago, I met a whole bunch of people who are just like me. They work in organisations who represent networks of places that help people to use technology. Many of those networks are libraries. Many of them are voluntary sector organisations, community-type organisations. And they help people to use technology, which is exactly what you guys do. So I don't see a distinction between libraries and telecentres. A lot of the slides and the stuff that was being discussed and talked about just before the coffee break, you could have been describing telecentres. It's exactly the same stuff. So Telecentre Europe is a network of networks. We're an informal organisation at this moment in time. We're hoping to become a legal entity that represents this diverse group of organisations. But right now, and last week, there was a bunch of us who were in Istanbul. We met, and we've done a lot of talking and discussing and negotiating and planning and thinking. But the issue is, we have a huge scope. And I know that actually we're not meeting anywhere near all of the people who are doing this work already. We have only scratched the surface. There's only a handful of people who have been here over the last couple of days who we already have links with. Some of you may not know we have links with you. And Jens, who was speaking earlier, he may not realise that we're already talking to the Learn More About IT. They were in Istanbul with us last week. There's a number of other networks. Loretta in Lithuania, their network, we've had Christoph, I think he's gone. So there's a number of networks who we're already connected to. I want to invite you all to join. So that's an open invitation. There's some big numbers there, but as I say, I actually think there could be significantly more than that. And we want to work as advocates, we want to work, we want to develop a relationship with people and share knowledge and understanding and learning, because very often we're all doing the same thing. So now, we have a digital divide in Europe. And various figures put it at 40 to 50%. Now, my best guess is that it's somewhere between that. And the key issue, a lot of people have been talking about it, is those who are most in need of it are most likely to be offline. Now, I'd just like to kind of give you a little bit of a demonstration of what that means. If there's about 100 people in this room at this moment in time, I think, roughly. And in the Europe that I consider, which is wider than the European Union, there's 800 million people. So 40%, if we take the conservative estimate, 40% of the people who are offline is 292 million people. So if we say, let's say this is slightly more on this side. So if all you guys are offline, each one of you represents about 8 million people. Every single one of you represents about 8 million. That's a lot of people. You need to help them get online. And that's kind of what our mission is. We want to help the networks that help people to get online. And it is about giving those centres and those networks and the staff within those centres the skills and the understanding, the tools to be able to effectively support people to use technology. So, finally, I think we're going to get to the future and look forwards. So, I thought, okay, we've got a digital divide now. What are we going to have in the future? And I'm going to talk about two different divides that I think we are likely to see in the future. An energy divide. I think we have a culture whereby we all have handheld devices and laptops, and we may have multiple white goods in our houses, and we have large screen TVs, and we have electrical appliances. Is that sustainable? I don't know that it is. I'm not saying that it isn't. But all I can tell you is that our energy consumption in the future will increase. And it's been recognised, and so forth. I'm not going to talk about science. I don't actually want this to be gloomy either, because I think there's a number of things that we in this room have a great deal to think about. And we don't have any time for being gloomy. So there will be people who won't have power all the time. There will be people for whom it's intermittent, it will come, it will go, it will be on, it will be off, they don't know when the power cut's coming. It will probably affect those on low income more because they may not be able to afford a generator. I don't know how far in the future this might happen. But to alleviate the problem, telecentres and libraries, again, same thing, could be a very significant and absolutely crucial place for those people when the lights go off. We will become increasingly dependent upon information and communication technology. We will have an addiction. Our lives will be governed by it, and we will be totally beholden to power. So, when it goes off, we're going to be in trouble. And libraries and public places could well be very, very important indeed. Now, you might think, he's off on one. And how do we know this is going to happen? Well, I can't tell you that it will. But what I can tell you is, if you look in other parts of the world, and I'm going to give you an example of India, telecentres do this already. When the power goes off, and it goes off every day, when the power goes off, the telecentre is so, think about that. Then we might have what I've called a vocal divide. Technology gives us a voice. And at the moment, that enables us to Twitter. This enables us to be part of social networks. So we are publishers. We create content. And creating content is great. It allows us to have a persona. It allows us to have, and here is a word that I do not think I have heard anybody say at all during the last 2 days, an identity. I don't know if it came up in one of the other workshops that I wasn't taking part in, but I have not heard that word said in the last 2 days. We are given an identity, and we could call it the identity divide. Telecentres and libraries should be gearing up to help people have an identity, have a voice. Because a large part of what certainly government machinery is based upon is around people having an identity, people being online. So you could almost argue that if you're not online, you may not have an identity. And you may not even exist. So we've got to be really, really careful to make sure that people have an identity, they understand what that identity means, and that they have a voice, and they can use it, and they can be heard, and they can be part of their community. And understanding the tools that we have got at our disposal now, the Facebooks, the Twitters, all of the social networking tools that we have, are really important in being able to build and understand and equip citizens for the future. Okay, I did talk about partnership in the workshop that we had this morning. I'm going to talk about it again because I think it's really, really important. And I would encourage, and I'm using the word telecentres again because I think that they are representative of the organisations that you will come across in your local communities, who are helping people to use technology, who are based in other organisations, and you should be working with them. And I would wholeheartedly encourage you to get connected to your local telecentre, because they will offer you new and different customers, they will offer you new and different access to services, they will give you new ideas. So working in partnership is absolutely essential as far as I'm concerned. All of these things will become possible: creative, efficient, effective, reach more diverse audiences and so forth. So that's kind of it really. I hope that some people have twittered Google. Thank you.